Welcome back to the channel. The support on the recent videos has been far more than I ever hoped it would be at the start. So today we're going to go into something a bit special. Last night Alabama proved to be one of the best college teams of all time, beating a very good Ohio State team with ease. With that game comes the end of the college season and a chance now for us to do our first mock draft of the first round of the NFL. But I thought me sitting here and going through 32 picks, when in reality I only know about Dolphins, that's it. I thought a better way to do it would be to use some resources I had to hand. The AA group chat. A group chat full of football fans, gamers, the lot. But most importantly, fans from all over the league. I've taken information, I've asked a few of them questions this morning to try to correlate how this draft is going to go based on what they want. So I'd like to welcome you to an NFL mock draft in which every pick is inspired by a fan of their team. Big thanks to Tommy, Tony and Roger for the help of making this video. But anyway, let's get into the draft. So here we are, first overall pick with Jacksonville. This mock draft video could take well over an hour if I went through every pick and explained the pros and cons, but there's no need for that. We're going to go through the quick fire, why are we picking who we're picking, and talk through it as we go. First overall pick's a no-brainer. It's Trevor Lawrence to Jacksonville. Best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck, and it's a no-brainer. This is where Tommy comes into it. Tommy's a Jets fan. He's been tossing and turning for weeks over this number 2 pick, but this morning I put him on the hot seat. Who is the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft? And as of this morning, the New York Jets are taking Zach Wilson out of BYU. Quarterback had an exceptional season this year, and has jumped up many draft boards doing so. Now we come to Roger's pick of the Dolphins. Originally he wanted to trade it for Watson. After arguing with him and saying we can't trade the pick, we must pick someone, it was a no-brainer. The best wide receiver I've personally ever seen in college. And last night he put on a show. 12 receptions, over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns against cornerbacks who are meant to be NFL quality. The third overall pick in the draft this year is a no-brainer at Davonte Smith. At 4, Atlanta made think they wouldn't get this scenario, but they're bringing back an ex-Georgia player themselves. Justin Fields, the quarterback, at 4 is great value, and Atlanta gets a player they didn't think would be on the board. But in this whole draft, the best value has fallen to the Bengals. The Bengals' problem all year was offensive line, and they get one of the best prospects in college history in Penei Sewell out of Oregon. The tackle will shore up that line a lot and will help Burrow a lot come the future. Now we hit Rasta's pick, we hit Tony's pick. This pick tossed and turned. 2 names were up. It was Jamar Chase or Patrick Surtain. The decision was finally made where the Eagles need to help. And after drafting receiver after 3 times and never truly getting success, they decided to go the other way with it. The Eagles at 6 are drafting Patrick Surtain out of Alabama. And at 7, the Lions themselves are going to take Jamar Chase, wide receiver LSU. I believe the Panthers in this scenario are just going to sit and wait and see what happens. I think they want a quarterback. I think they've realised that Teddy Bridgewater isn't the answer. So I think at the 8th overall pick, the Panthers are just going to wait and see what quarterback drops. And this idea is Trey Lance of North Dakota State. 9th overall goes to the Broncos, and I think the Broncos land what could be up there with the best value of this draft because they draft the best defender in the class. Mika Parsons is probably the best linebacker prospect of 10 years and one of the best off-ball linebacker prospects ever in draft history. The issue is that if you're Miami, I feel like last night has basically made your mind up. You need a playmaker, and you've just saw Davonte Smith do that. And the rest of the draft doesn't really fall in the hands of Mika Parsons. Parsons goes 9 to Denver. And at 10, Cowboys get a little bit stitched up. I think they wanted Patrick Surtain. You can see the order that they have players in this draft class. A little differently how I would rank them. I think Surtain is the best cornerback in the class. The Cowboys have loved him. But they still get a great corner in Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech. And at 11 goes sort of the unforgotten man of the class. And that's Gregory Rousseau out of Miami. People seem to forget he sat out this year of the college season due to COVID. And if he hadn't sat out, I think he's a top 5 or 6 pick. He is that good of a defensive lineman. But as you can see, a lot of players this year have increased their value by having good years and not sitting out. Rousseau goes 11 to the Giants. Then we have to have a real long look at the San Francisco 49ers. And what do they need? We can look at the team needs that PFN has them at. Quarterback, guard, edge, safety. And I'm going to tackle the one that says edge, but maybe not with a pass rusher directly, but with an incredibly athletic linebacker that can play inside and play outside. And that's Owusu Kamaroa. Jeremiah's going to go 12 to the 49ers, leaving the Chargers on the clock at 13. Difficult decision for the Chargers. They have a lot of holes on their defense, but offensively, I think they just need to shore up the O-line more. Rashawn Slater of Northwestern is a dominant tackle in this class and is very, very good. He goes 13. 14 to the Vikings. I think their desperate need is pass rush. They need an edge defender. And I think Kwity Paye is a far better player than the 14th overall pick, but you can see the way the draft is falling. A lot of players are falling down just because team needs don't fit. Mika Parsons should never be the 9th overall pick in this draft, but he is. Same way that Kwity Paye should never be the 14th overall pick, but a steal to the Vikings. Now we get interesting. What do the New England Patriots need? A lot, but they need a quarterback. I sat a couple of days ago trying to plan this, and I was questioning whether Mac Jones is the value in this pick. They have him ranked at 50 here. Last night, Mac Jones, on an Ohio State defense that gives some troubles to Trevor Lawrence, put up 464 yards and 5 TDs all in the air. That is an incredible stat line. He should have been the offensive MVP of the game if it wasn't for Davonte Smith just having the most ridiculous game. Mac Jones is going to go 15 in New England and attempt to start off a very delicate rebuilding process under Bill Belichick's final few years. Arizona, pretty simple pick. Kyle Pitts is a versatile tight end, athletic, and is actually a surprisingly good blocker. They've got an okay O-line. Kyler Murray's elite. DeAndre Hopkins, Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds. They have a nice offense, but the tight end is a position they don't have. Kyle Pitts fills that very well. 17, oh dear, the Raiders. What an end of the season. And I think the one play you can look at is the Mac Hollins catch for the Dolphins. In a cover 2, with no run underneath, Damon Arnett, the corner, plays down on it and lets Hollins get behind him for what would end up being the game-winning reception with field goal to lead up to it. Using this logic, I think the Raiders need a cornerback, and I think JC Horn out of South Carolina is the best on the board by a good stretch at this point. Now we get back to 18. There's lots of options. People are talking about, linebackers at Miami, Najee Harris, the running back, tackles, but I'm going to go Jalen Waddle. Miami says no more to weak weapons. You're taking the college football game's best wide receiver tandem, pairing it up with their previous quarterback. This is a home run attempt from Miami. Get your playmakers for the long haul. Jalen Waddle last night, you could tell he was not healthy. Got hurt early in the game and lowered snap count because of it. But if I'm Miami and I have the option of taking Davonte Smith and Jalen Waddle, I'm taking them both in the first round and shoring up my wide receiver position for years to come. 19th overall pick, the Washington Redskins. We decide that the defense is nice. Chase Young's had a very good year. Kerrigan's getting old. We need to look at sort of adding some more pressure in case Kerrigan does get moved for more youth. Montez Sweat's been very nice, and I think adding a player that can play a bit inside and outside will do help for them. Azeez Ojulari is a player that fills this hole quite well. We then fall to the Bears. The Bears' offense picked up in the second half of the season really, really well, and I think because of that, you look to add a tackle. Christian Darrisaw will help the O-line and help David Montgomery, who started to look incredibly good come the tail end of the season. Obviously, their postseason run was short-lived and a bit anticlimactic, but they were an 8-18 made the playoffs. What did you expect? Indianapolis Colts at 21. We're going Rashad Bateman, a wide receiver from Minnesota. I think Bateman is an incredible wide receiver. I think any other year he could be the best wide receiver in the class. Just this year's class with Waddle, Smith and Chase is exceptional. It pushes Bateman down, but it's great value for the Colts at 21. At 22, similarly, I think the Titans are kicking themselves that he's just left, because we're going to go Rondale Moore out of Purdue at 22. Look, Rondale had a big injury concern this year, only got back to a few games at the tail end of the season, but you could already see the explosiveness he has. He is going to be a fast, athletic counterpart to the AJ Brown's physical dominance. I think this is a great 1-2 punch for Tannehill, and it makes him a little less one-sided when it comes to Derrick Henry. They give options in the air rather than knowing they has to run the ball. At 23, we go back to the defense for the Jets. It's a bit of a tough one, what position they need, but I feel like overall they need to get after the passer better than they have, and we're going to do that with the third player on the edge board here. That's Joseph Osai. Oh, there's no scoreboard yet. The edge out of Texas is athletic as anyone, gets after the passer, but is also proven to be able to run with tailbacks, which is a big thing in the game now. You notice a lot of Miami and Patriots, a lot of sort of linebackers to cover different players on the field, and you have to be able to do that. You have to be versatile. It's the reason someone like Isaiah Simmons went so high to the Cardinals in a previous draft, because versatility is a great weapon to have. 24, and this is the pick that hurts me. 24 to the Steelers. I would love to sit here and say that the Steelers take Travis Etienne, because a lot of people have him as the number one running back. I just don't think he is. I think the best running back in this class is Najee Harris, and I think the Steelers make the right pick at 24. Take Harris. Staying offensively, I did a video a few days ago talking about Jacksonville's offseason, in which they have to sign Cam Robinson back to a long-term deal. That makes half their line solid for Trevor Lawrence, and I think in the first round you can happily, with your second pick, solidify the line more. There's a lot of tackles here that are offered, but I really think Alex Leatherwood last night once again had a great game, but he's consistent. He's not going to blow you away with pancake blocks and mauling off the ball, but he also doesn't have those silly blow-bys. He plays his position well, and it's consistency which is key to the O-line. 26, the Browns. We're going back to defense. We're actually going to go a little bit down on their list. Someone they don't seem to rate very highly at all. It's going to be Dylan Moses, the linebacker out of Alabama. Proved last night again. He is rangy. He can go sideline to sideline. And that's what you need in this NFL. And it's what the Browns need more than anything. You know, BJ Goodson's had a good run for them, but his aging and the legs are starting to slow down a bit. I think Dylan Moses fits the hole perfectly. Can pass rush and can pass cover, and is very good at both, and is a great fit for the Browns defense. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 27. It's another tough pick, but we're going to stay at linebacker again and possibly take, he could be described as the better linebacker, but it's very personal choices, and it's going to be Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. Similarly athletic, a bit more of a better pass rusher, could play on the outside, on the edge if need be, but obviously would be more suited to a central linebacker role, off ball like Mika Parsons would be. At 28, we're looking at the Baltimore Ravens, and I just want to give them pass rush. That's my big worry right now. It's how are we going to get pass rush into the Baltimore Ravens? I think looking at the list of who we have, there's a couple of debatable ones, but I think value is Jason Owa out of Penn State. Shouldn't be here on the board at this point. Far too good for the 28th pick, but that's a great value pick for the Baltimore Ravens, and there's 4 picks left. Now here's an interesting one. A lot of places will show you pass rushers, linebackers and all for Saints, and I think people have forgot Drew Brees is going to retire, I think. And if Drew Brees retires, with the money they've paid him, Taysom Hill could easily become the number 1 quarterback in New Orleans. If that happens, you need a tight end. I think Pat Freiermuth out of Penn State's a great alternative to that. It means you're not having that hole. You saw young and inexperienced quarterbacks for years fall on their tight ends. That's a position that they've always loved. When Wentz came into the league, Ertz and Wentz's connection was elite. And I think Freiermuth and Taysom Hill can have a bit more of a connection. Jared Cook is still there. It's someone to work underneath and learn from and grow underneath. But I think that's a decision that this offseason is going to be very interesting for the Saints, because if Brees retires, they need to sort out the quarterback. Is Taysom Hill the answer? Is Jameis Winston the answer? We're not quite sure yet. We're on the clock now for Buffalo, and I think defensively we're going to have to take a linebacker. Edmonds is an incredible linebacker, but he needs paid. Matt Milano is an incredible linebacker, and he needs paid. Their third linebacker, you wouldn't even know. I think they need to add a linebacker to that room in case you don't pay both of them. You get your final year with these two guys. If you pay one, you play the rookie after, okay? And I think the best linebacker for that role in this draft is Nick Bolton out of Missouri. He is a very good run stopper. Not overly athletic, but is a good pass coverage back in the centre of the field. If he gets caught on a deep route or on a post or a corner, he might get in trouble. But the defense at Buffalo runs doesn't tend to allow that to happen. It tends to make the linebackers stop the run, stop the short route, and Nick Bolton can very easily do that. 31st overall pick to the Packers. It's a tough one. I think we're going to go offensive line. Bakhtiari tore his ACL. The line's getting older. And I think under Rodgers, especially if you do plan Jordan Love to be the successor, AJ Dillon's a young running back. If Aaron Jones doesn't come back, you need to upgrade the line. And I think the best tackle that I can see in this line, it's Jalen Mayfield out of Michigan. He is physically a carbon copy of Bakhtiari. He is so good with his hands and his feet. There's not necessarily dominant size when it comes to Mayfield, but his hands and his feet might be the best in the class outside of Pete Sewell. Tackle from Michigan has a very good year, and I think he does go in the first round, and if not, anyone who gets him outside of the first round is getting great value. Now we sit and look at the 32nd pick at the value on the board. You have safeties, you have tackles. Samuel Cosme I do think goes higher. They rank Vera Tucker very high out of USC. I'm not as high on him as they might be. But the 32nd overall pick, I'm going to go with Darion Kendrick, cornerback out of Clemson. I think he's a very good player. I think he is a position of need for Kansas. If you look at the game Kansas have been in trouble in, even when they got beat by the Raiders, it was the Raiders' passing attack that beat them. When Miami had a chance to take them down, it was Tua passing the ball down the field. When you're someone like the Chiefs and you put up so many points, teams are forced to pass on you. So you have to be able to stop that. So my 32nd overall pick is the cornerback to Kansas. If we have a quick look at our draft again, you can see Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, 3 quarterbacks in the top 4. Miami take Davonte Smith at 3. Mika Parsons is a massive coup at 9 for the Broncos. Similarly, Mac Jones, it's a reach, but it might work out for the Pats. They need a quarterback, and I don't know if he's there come the second round. Jalen Waddle finishes off the Alabama wide receiver tandem in Miami. Rashad Bateman and Rondale Moore, the wide receivers, go back-to-back into the AFC South. Najee Harris leapfrogs Travis Etienne for the number 1 running back in the class and goes to Pittsburgh. A bit of a defensive run here. 3 linebackers go off the board. Very close talent-wise. Saints try to fill a position that might be moved if Taysom Hill goes to quarterback. And we end with a couple of contenders just filling off holes. But that is our mock draft. So, thank you very much everyone for watching the mock draft. As you saw, we tried to make picks that fans have brought up to me of holes. It's easy for me to sit and look at, the team needs, Baltimore need a tackle, and you go get a tackle. It's not as easy as that in the draft. Try to get value in every way you can. A big thank you to the AA group chat. Thank you to Tony, Roger, Tommy and all sorts for helping me pick picks for this draft class. If there's anyone you disagree with, please let me know in the comments. If there's anything you see in this draft that no one else has done that you think, do you know what, that makes sense, also let me know. Please like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I hope you have a really good day.